Good afternoon. We are Blue Moon Studio, and today we're going to show you how to make personalized jewelry and hair clips using our line of UV resin craft products. We hope you are able to craft with us, or you can watch now and make your own beautiful creations later. If this is your first class with us, or you have missed any of our earlier classes, they are all available on the Michaels website, or you can watch the video of past projects, learn or brush up on the basics, along with our helpful and handy tips and tricks, and continue to perfect your UV resin craft skills. Blue Moon Studio's UV resin is specially formulated so that it is of the highest quality, clearest, non-yellowing UV resin. We offer a full suite of other useful items, from a curing lamp to our exclusive molds and bezels, tints, glitters, fillers, tools, and so much more to make your own unique UV resin pieces. Everything you need for today's project is available at Michaels stores nationwide, as well as on the Michaels website. And remember, you can always refer back to the videos posted on the Michaels website anytime you want a refresher. I will be posting a handout today on using molds for your reference in the chat function. Stephanie Manor, Blue Moon's creative director and uber passionate UV resin crafter, will be your instructor and is so excited to share today's project with you. Rosa Vergaro, Blue Moon's amazing maker and curator, will be off camera, busy assisting Stephanie with what she needs so you can get the most out of today's class. And I am Anne-Marie Menlo, and will be answering your questions via the chat function. We hope you can craft along with us today, but if not, enjoy the class and pick up your own UV resin craft materials at Michaels stores nationwide and online, so you too can enjoy crafting with UV resin as much as we do. This class is being recorded and will be posted within a day or two to the Michaels website, so you can watch and refer to it. So without further ado, here's Stephanie.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited to talk to you about UV resin. So if you have used any type of a resin product before, but not tried UV resin, this is your chance to learn all of the basics on how to make some beautiful jewelry with this amazing product. So what is it? It is a liquid that just pours out ready to go. Actually, let me bring this down just a little bit so you can see what I have here. I just have a silicone mat, some wood sticks, and this is the resin. I'm going to put a tiny little dot here so you can see it just pours out ready to go. There's no mixing, there's no measuring, and it cures under UV light. So this is our UV lamp that's available at Michaels. I hit the button, you can see, let me turn it over, you can see that light come on. And so I'm just going to place it over there. It starts to cure within seconds. With other resin products, you need to let this cure for a day or two until you can wear your jewelry. But with UV resin, it's ready in just a few minutes. One push of this button runs the lamp for 1 minute. Your total cure time is anywhere between 2 to 4 minutes, depending on what you put on the resin or in the resin. So this light has been on for just a few seconds, but let me show you that what was liquid before is now hardened plastic. This isn't cured all the way, but I wanted to show you how quickly it works. Next, as just to again show you more about this material, I'm going to take a little popsicle stick, put a little bit of resin on there, dip it into water, and shine some light on it. So the purpose of this is to show you that this is curing in the UV light. It does not cure just in air. So you can leave this out on your work table and it will stay in its liquid form until you expose it to UV light. And that includes light that comes from this lamp or from sunlight. Sunlight cures this as well. So before we get started, a few notes of safety precautions. Because it cures in sunlight, you don't want to be working near an open window, because the rays of the sun are going to start curing it before you want it to. Also, if you have sensitive skin or an allergy to resin, make sure you're wearing gloves. Work in a well-ventilated area. Okay, so this has been in there for less than a minute. Again, in an airless environment, so underwater, it's still going to cure. So what was just liquid a second ago is now hardened plastic on top of there. So that's what this material is. Now let me show you how to make jewelry. We're going to switch cameras and I'll be right back with you. Hi guys. All right, can you hear me okay over here?
We can, Steph.
Awesome. Okay, so here we have some of the things that we're going to make today. These are little alligator clips for your hair. And then we have some jewelry, bracelets, earrings, necklaces, but all with monograms or full names. Monogram jewelry is so popular right now. Anything that's personalized, we're going to show you how to make it. So all of these projects are going to use a mold. This is a silicone mold that contains the entire alphabet. And you can see, first of all, how clear this is. And it's very, very flexible. It's a very high quality silicone. Because this product cures via light, you need to make sure you're using a clear mold. You do not want to use an opaque mold like this. It won't cure correctly for you. So make sure you're using a clear mold. Okay, so let's just jump right in. We're going to make these little clips first. And so you want to start with the clip itself. And these are, we've used a lot of these, but this is, we saved the package to show you. This is what the clips look like. These are sold in the jewelry making aisle at Michael's. And it's just a little alligator clip. But the cool part of it is that it has this flat top. And that will come in handy when we're trying to adhere the letters to it. So it's a flat top alligator clip. All right, then you want to start mixing up a color to put in this mold. So I have here a silicone mixing cup. And so let me move this up out of the way a little bit so we can get closer in on the action. So I'm going to take the resin, pour it directly into the cup, and I'm eyeballing. I'm going to mix up about enough to make 2 letters, depends on what you want to do. Then I'm going to use some tints. So these are tints. Also, everything I'm showing you is sold at Michael's. So these are resin tints, special tints for tinting resin. There are a lot of things that can tint resin, but this is really the one that works the best. Oh, we're switching out to a clean one. Sorry, my assistant trumped me there. Okay, sorry, filling that up. So I'm gonna mix up a color. Let's see what I have here. I have the word love. Oop, this is what I want to put on my hair clip. But I'm gonna mix up another color here. Let's see, I'm gonna put just a tiny little bit of yellow. You can see I put like half a drop in there is all you need. And I'm gonna put a tinier little drop of red. And in fact, I'm gonna kind of put that on the side of the cup just because I want to make sure that I don't put too much red because these tints are very powerful. And then finally, I'm going to put a little drop of white. Oops, let me shake this up first. You want to shake the tints. They can settle to the bottom. Let me shake this up. Put a little bit of white. We don't want to make this completely opaque white. We still want it to have a little bit of translucency. All right, and then I just mix. I'm going to pull a little bit of that red in there at a time to see, oh, well, we're going to need more than that to see what we're getting. All right, that is very orange. So let's add more red. A little bit more red, and we'll do a little bit more white. Okay, and you can add glitters at this point too. Maybe we should add some glitter to it. That's always fun. So here we're getting more to the coral color that I was looking for. I'm going to add a little bit of glitter. This is just regular ultrafine glitter. I don't want to put too much in this one, just a little bit of sparkle. But you can add as much glitter as you want to. You can get it till it's like completely opaque with glitter. Okay, that's a pretty kind of tangerine color. Let's go with it. All right, so let me move these out of the way. This silicone cup is perfect because it has a spout on it. It's very flexible, and I can just put that into whatever letter I want. I'm going to do the O. And so just very carefully kind of place that around. Now it's going to get a slightly messy in this step. These are very small letters, so you need to work it a little bit so that it gets down into the grooves of that mold. And if you have excess on the top, not to worry, I'm going to show you a little technique there. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm using the wood stick. The wood sticks come with the silicone cup. And I'm just making sure the resin got down into the mold, basically. And you can see I over poured it a little bit. And what works really well is a wet paper towel or a baby wipe. Always keep those kind of off to the side. So here I have just a wet paper towel. I'm just, with no pressure at all, just going to come over the top of that letter. Okay, I can clean it up a little bit, but I'm not too worried about what's on the side there. And that is our first letter. So here's our lamp. I'll show you the bottom of the lamp too. This is a 9-watt UV LED lamp, and it plugs in with a USB cord. So this would plug into like your laptop or your wall charger for your phone. And I hit that button and it starts curing right away. Now this cup that I mixed, I'm going to move this to the side because I don't want this cup to be anywhere close to this lamp because it will start curing and I want to use that later. All right, so while that's under the lamp, please make sure if you have any questions, we want to hear from you. Use the chat function, and throughout the class, we will be taking some questions and hopefully answering them for you. All right, so that's going for a minute. Let me get my clip here. So this is where it's going to go. So let me try to like line up. I'm going to line up these letters. L-O-V-E. Move this so you can see. Okay, so now that's gone for 1 minute. It's cured at this point. I would probably run it through for another minute, but for sake of time, I'm going to just pop this out. So you can see how easily the letters pop out. And this is what you get. So you can see there's a little bit of like little dangle part. These can just pop right off if you have any extra that you have along there. But you end up with a letter that is very contoured on the front and flat on the back. You can see the flat back and sort of the contoured front. All right, so here's my word, love. Now to add it to the clip, I'm just going to go in with more resin. This resin makes a wonderful adhesive. And I'm just going to go put a very thin layer over the top of this and kind of even that out with my stick a little bit. I don't want any big clumps. And you can see even as I do this, that the resin is self-leveling. So like, for example, when I make a line through it, you see it just kind of like level, it finds its own level, which makes this perfect for doming or for adding on top of other things. Okay, so there we've got our liquid resin, and then I just place my letters where I want them to go. We have found that you can fit about, using this particular clip, you can fit about 5 letters, maybe 6 if you tried really hard and had like a lot of eyes in there. but now I'm just kind of placing them. And I want to take my time to get these lined up because as soon as I shine that light on it, it is going to lock it into place. So I want to take my time. What I can also do is take the wood stick and kind of use that to even off the top and bottom if I don't trust my fingers to do it. All right. Okay, that L wants to be wonky on us. It just wants to move. All right, well. It's all right, we'll make it work. Okay, so because this L, for some reason, it's like staticking over to the side, I might actually have to hold the stick on it while it starts to cure until it grabs. It grabs in a few seconds. All right, and once I have that lined up, I can put it under the light. So I'm gonna hold it with my hand just for the first maybe 10 to 15 seconds until it grabs, and then I can set it down. I just want to hold it until this is no longer very liquidy because I don't want it to pool in areas. All right, so now's a good time to answer any questions from the group. How are you guys doing? Is it best to resin? We have a question from Liza. Is it best to resin the clip versus the letter? You know, you can do it either way. These letters are quite small and I'm pretty ham-handed. So it's easier for me to put the resin on a wider space than on the letters, but definitely try that technique too. All right, so that now is set into place, but I'm gonna let it go for it to fully cure. And I'll show you some of the examples. Here's an example, all different color letters. Let me run that again. All different color letters. You can see we fit 5 letters here. Here we've done 3. Really depends on the letters. Like these W's are quite wide. So spelling out the word wow or the word mom, you're gonna only be able to fit probably 3 letters on there. Here's one that's all the same color. This one is boss. And that's our first project. How easy is that? Let me move these off to the side. This has gone for about a minute, a little over a minute. I'm going to just move. Sometimes you'll find that you want to rotate the light around it. Something that has sharp edges like this, there might be part of this clip that is in the shadow of this light. So sometimes I just like to move it around and make sure that that light is hitting all of the edges. Okay, and then here we go. Here's our clip. So really simple, very easy to do. The hardest part is lining up those letters, but if you use a straight edge, it makes it a lot easier. I saw a question, could you first paint the clips? Absolutely. You could paint the clips with acrylic paint, or you could paint the clips with resin. So I could have taken this color and sort of painted that on there first to give us a base layer and then added the layers with clear. So I love that idea. Thank you for sharing. All right, so now we're gonna make some jewelry. And we have some monogram necklaces here. Oops. And I'm going to show you 2 different techniques of making these. Let me get this really close. So this is the first technique where the letter is inside that pendant. So you can see that it's not adding texture to the front of it. It's completely sunk down inside there. The opposite is this one. You can see the E is a little bit raised. I like both of these looks. I can't decide which is my favorite. This one might look, I don't know, a little more expensive. I'm not sure. You'll have to tell me in the comments which one you like better, but I'm going to show you how to make both. So we're going to start with this one. So this one uses 2 molds. So we have our alpha mold, and then we have our basic shapes mold. So this basic shapes mold has circles, ovals, rectangle shapes. We're going to be using this one. Also notice that not every shape, but many of our shapes in our molds have this little peg here. So that peg is what creates the hole at the top, and that allows you to connect it to other things. So we wanted to be thoughtful about where we place these holes. If the holes are not in the place that you need them, for example, if you wanted to make this bar shape into a bracelet, you would need a hole on this side and on this side. And if that's the case, we do have a drill. You can drill these things out. I'll show you a little bit later in the class how to use that drill. But all right, so I have a stash over here of letters that we have already done. And here I have a nice letter T. So your first step would be to make a letter. Second step is to place it in the mold. So remember that when you are molding something, the front of your piece is actually under here. So I want to put the front of my T to the bottom. So I'm going to turn this over and place it. And get my stick in there. There we go. And now I'm going to fill it with resin. And I'm actually not going to fill it to the top because I'm going to show you a little bonus technique. So then I just go with my wood stick. I want to make sure that the liquid resin, it's very thick. So you want to make sure it gets around this little silicone peg. And I just want to make sure that it's meeting all of the edges. And then I'm going to really fine tune the placement of this T. I'm going to bring you in really close to show you. There is a bubble. Dun, dun, dun. Can you see this bubble right here? Bubbles happen sometimes, definitely not as often as it happens with like a 2-part resin that you have to mix together. But bubbles do happen. And if that happens, the time to deal with them is before you cure. After you cure, that bubble's in there forever. So before you cure it, what I can try to do is just poke the bubble and try to pop it. And if I can't pop it, I'm going to try to scoop it out of there. So I'm going to try to move that to the side. Oh, I'm poking it. Hey, this is a stubborn one. I don't know if you can even see the bubble. It's tiny. Okay, I just poked it. And now it has a friend. Okay, there we go. All right, so let's place this T just perfectly in the middle. And if you notice, I did not fill the mold up all the way to the top. That's because I have a little bonus thing I want to share with you guys. But let me get that T just centered. Okay. All right, and then we're going to cure it. Okay, question from Lynn. She's had lots of bubbles and trouble popping them. Okay, so sometimes what can make bubbles worse is if you are mixing, like if you're mixing in a silicone cup and you're kind of like whipping air into it, that can create a lot of bubbles. If you shake the resin a lot beforehand, that can create a lot of bubbles. If when you're pouring the resin, you're starting and stopping, like pour a little bit, that can create bubbles. So try to pour it in one long stream. Don't shake the bottle. Don't whip air into it if you're mixing colors. So that might be able to help some of your problems. But if you're still having a problem with bubbles, yes, popping them. Or what I like to do is go in with this side of the wood stick and just, if it's a problem, I just scoop it out. I always keep a paper towel over here to the side. So I would just scoop that out and just wipe my stick. All right, so that went for 1 minute. Now the extra bonus that I want to show you is you can use paint with this. So this is a folk art acrylic paint. And I just want to show you a quick little thing. I have a little piece of plastic here. I'm going to pour some paint in it. Now remember that what's facing us is actually the back. So that gives us an opportunity to maybe do a little bit of design back there. So I'm just taking my stick and making polka dots. I don't want to get them too close to the edges because I want to make sure that my final layer of resin on there will seal the edges. And obviously you're going to take your time and do a much better job than I'm doing. Toothpick works great for this. One of those dotting tools is actually the best if you have, if you have a dotting tool. All right. And then we're just going to let that dry. Once it's dry, we're going to put resin over top of it and demold. Okay. So that is the start of this necklace. The second necklace we're going to do, I'm going to make an oval shape here. Oops. I'm going to make this oval shape and I'm going to reuse this color. Actually, you know, that's kind of boring. Let's add something else to it. Let's add some gold glitter. And I'm going to put a lot of gold glitter in this one. You can see how much I'm adding. It's quite a lot. The thing you want to keep in mind, if you add a lot of glitter or a lot of tint, you want to go in small layers or just pure extra. All right, so I added some gold glitter to that. And I'm going to pour it in here. And this one I am going to fill up to the top. All right, there's nothing else I need to do. We are ready to cure. And this one doesn't need to be cured yet, but still just waiting on that paint to dry. So let me bring this light in here and cure. So this color, because it has a lot of glitter and a lot of tint to it, I probably want to cure that for, I would say, at least 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes. If you are choosing to cure in the sun, actually curing in the sun is my favorite way of curing because you just cannot replicate the intensity of the UV that you're getting from natural sunlight in an electronic product. So if you put this outside, this would be cured in about 5 to 6 minutes if it's a sunny day. If it's a cloudy day, or if it is the sun has gone down, but there's still a little bit of like kind of ambient sun in the air, you might need 10, 12 minutes to cure it outside, but it's still a very short curing time. All right, so that's doing its thing under there. I want to show you another project here, actually, that uses the same technique. So that went for 1 minute. I'm going to put it on again. I'm going to show you some options. So here's our necklace that we're making, the V. And I have paint on my finger. Here's another option. Here we did it in a heart and just kind of like offset that letter. Oops, sorry. Offset that letter a little bit. Here we did a letter with like a milky background, and this shape has 2 holes in it, so you can make it easily into a bracelet. Move this to the side a little bit. Here are some earrings that we made with the letter E. This shape is like the perfect width for these little E's. If you're thinking about birthday gifts, Christmas gifts, these make wonderful personalized items. Okay, so that's gone for 2 minutes. Let's give it a little test here. I can just kind of push up. I can see that it's mostly cured. Let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and take that out. So you can see that shape is done. Now it is still a little bit tacky. See, when I touch it, oh, that's not in the frame. When I touch with my finger, see how it kind of sticks? That can be solved by just curing a little bit more. So I'm going to put that under here while we deal with our little polka dot friend here. So here, all we need to do is move this, is put our final layer of resin on there. So we want to fill the mold to the top and then go in with your wood stick and just make sure that it's reaching all the edges and it gets around that little silicone peg. And it is going to seal that acrylic paint in there. And this is ready to cure as well. So let's move this so both of them can get some light at the same time.
Steph, I have a question if you have a opportunity.
I sure do. I have an answer, hopefully.
If you have an answer, I have a question. Susan Cook is asking, in our packaging, our instructions, we recommend using a metal glue like E6000.
Yes.
Can you explain why our UV resin works most of the time, but sometimes we do recommend the other glue?
Yes. So here's a good example of that. This is a hoop earring. This is made from our hoop earring mold. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I've gotten a little too close. There we go. This comes from our hoop earring mold. So when you buy this in stores, it comes with the metal piece. See the metal, the earring back has that flat pad. Here's what it looks like in stores. And it comes with a little whole baggie of them. So this little piece here, oh, here's one by itself. You can see that it has a little pad. So this can be adhered just using resin. This piece I'm holding in my hand, we use just resin on it. And I'm gonna show you how strong that is. I'm gonna try to break this. So I'm breaking it. I mean, I'm bending that. I'm to the point where I've bent. So that's just with resin. It holds very firmly if you attach that correctly. And by correctly, what I mean is any resin that's underneath this pad is not going to cure. Any resin that is overlapped on top of this will cure. And that's what's holding this so tightly in place. So just keep that in mind. You don't want to use the resin as an adhesive like super glue, where you would mostly put it underneath the pad. You want to use it as if it's coming, you want to make sure it's coming over the edges. So you can see just using resin, it's very strong. And if we have time at the end of the class, I will do this process and show you how to make one of these. Okay, so this went a few times. Let's see how this is going. So here's our very glittery little oval. Let's choose a letter to go on there. Here's an R. That looks okay. First person that comments gets their initial in here. Who's it gonna be?
Let's see. G.
G. Of course it's a G. Do we have a G? All right, G. Gabriella. We're gonna make one for you. All right, let's get a new cup. Put some resin in here. And let's use a different color. I'm going to use a color that will really contrast because I want you to see. Let's use blue. You can see how concentrated this blue color is. All right. And then I'm going to use the wood stick to just kind of start placing this into the G. Is this the G? Oh, yes, it is. After F, but before H. Got it. I thought it was a C for a minute and I panicked. Okay. All right, so that one I was able to place in there pretty neatly. There's not really a lot of cleanup. I can see that there's a bubble. Let me zoom in again. Can you see one bubble off to the side there? Right here. Let me try to deal with that bubble. And I'm just going to poke it. Now, you will see plenty of people online using like a heat gun to get rid of bubbles. I've never tried that personally because bubbles haven't been so much of an, there I got it, haven't been so much of an issue for me. So I can't vouch for that particular method, but it does seem to be very popular. All right, so let's get that G cooking over here. And we should be ready to unmold our painted piece right here. It's so satisfying to do this demolding thing. It's worth the craft. And so you can see. Okay. Now, if you are an artist, you can imagine the beautiful paint that you can put and seal inside resin like this. Very cute. All right, let's let our G go. So what do you do now? Now you have a beautiful charm. What do you do? How do you make it into jewelry? Well, you need something called a jump ring. And I have all sorts of different sizes of jump rings here. I'm going to pick a size that's bigger. So here's a jump ring. So this is one of the basic building blocks of jewelry. It has a break in it. I don't know if you can see, but it has a break in it right there. And so you just want to situate your pliers on either side of that break. If not 2 pliers, you can just hold one with your finger. And you bring one away from you and one toward you. And that's how you open a jump ring. And jump rings are really how you connect one thing to another, how you jump from one thing to another. And that's how you add a jump ring. Okay. You can put this on a bracelet. You can put this on a necklace. Michael's has these great necklaces that are already pre-made for you, so you don't have to add anything. And that can just string right on. Okay. I'm not going to do that part, but you can see they can just string right on there. And there's our letter T. All right, so let's go over here to our G. Pop that out. You can see how clean the edges are on the front. It's a nice smooth edge. All right, that's going to go on here. This would also be perfect for, these colors remind me of like school spirit type colors. Great for a school fundraiser. Here we go. All right, so to attach that, I am actually going to put a little bit of resin on the face of this. Then kind of settle this down on it. And then I'm going to go in with more resin because I want to just make it a smooth transition. So I'm like placing one drop at a time to try to control where this goes. Then I'm going to go in with my wood stick, just kind of tease it till it goes to the edges. I want it to go to the edge, not over the edge of the charm. Paying special attention to this hole. If we do end up closing up that hole, it's not the end of the world because I needed an excuse to show you how the drill works. But here I'm just kind of teasing the edge so that I can make sure that it goes all the way to the edge. That looks a little off center. Let's move him over. Okay, now that's ready to go. I bring my lamp in. Okay, any other questions from the group? We encourage you to use the chat function when you're talking to us. You're talking to the manufacturer. We want to hear from you.
Stephanie, Susan Whitman has a question. Her question is, I used UV resin mixed with glitter on an acrylic circle piece for a keychain, and it stayed sticky after I cured it.
Okay.
Hold on, I just lost it because people are sending things in. Here it is. After I cured it multiple times at 90 seconds and let it set overnight, what could I have done wrong?
Well, if it's very darkly tinted or has a lot of glitter in it, those glitter particles are just might be blocking some of the UV rays. So you're not getting the full intensity of the light on it. My number one tip for dealing with stickiness is put it outside. What I like to do, I do crafting at night, so there's not sunlight at night. So what I do is I use a lamp in my workspace, but then in the morning I put them out in the sunlight for just 2 to 3 minutes, and it gets rid of all the surface tackiness. Okay, so this has just gone for 1 minute. I want to show you what happened here. I put a little bit too much resin and it kind of like fell off the edge there. But I'm going to show you how to fix that. First, let me cure it for a little bit longer. Shelly commented to everyone, you have to have a clear mold for the light to get through. Absolutely true. I'm going to show off. I'm going to take that as my cue to show off a few of our other molds. So here's an example of a mold. You'll notice they're all very high quality silicone, very clear. This is our ring mold. It has sizes 4 through 9 on it. This is our bangle mold. So you can make some awesome bangles. I'm going to do a little show and tell later and show you some bangles that we make. And then we have just different shapes. This is a very well used. It's got some glitter on it, but you can see hearts and leaves. Here's some more other shapes. We've got a unicorn, a cat head, these cute little glasses. This one I always like to show folks. It's got a little bit of glitter on it, but this mold is an exclusive mold that you will not find anywhere else, only at Michael's, and it is all different earring shapes. So you can make bar earrings or kind of hoop-ish earrings. Here's another one. This has got lots of faceted gem shapes. This is one of our most popular molds. All right, so this is gone. And so that's gone for about 2 minutes. I'm going to do, it is sticking to me just a little bit. So this is something I would put on my windowsill. But first, let me show you how to deal with that little burr. The first thing I can do is go in with some little nippers and kind of nip that off. And you could hear it fly across the room. Sorry. Also, if there's a little bit of texture left there, I can go in with an emery board and just kind of knock off that extra texture. Okay. So you may have some challenges, but they are not deal breakers. You can, I like to be able to show you ways of getting over those challenges. All right, so there's our G. The last technique I'm going to show you is how to use the letters just as charms. So not on top of something or sunk down inside something, but just as charms themselves. All right, so let's start with, this one says, hey. Okay, so let me show you the back here. See these charms? This is the front. See this K? This is the front. See the back? All we did was we used more resin to secure that, an extra jump ring onto the back. And that's what creates a little loop. So here I have little jump rings. So I'm going to turn this over and use it on, I should be doing this on my silicone mat. You want to have a good silicone mat. Once the resin cures, it does not stick to silicone. So having a silicone mat is really helpful. All right, let me flip this over. Sometimes it's hard to see what's the front and back. This is the back. And I just put a tiny little drop. And I'm actually going to pick this jump ring up with tweezers and place it and hold it while I cure it in place. and I'll feel it grab after a few seconds, and then I can let go and let that cure the rest of the way. I can kind of encourage it to be straight. There you go. I'm going to try to do that again. I know that I'm getting a little off camera here, but I don't want the light to cure this. Tiny little, oh, that's a big drop. That's not a tiny drop. That's okay. Let's clean it up. Ooh. I'm just going in there and cleaning up. I put a giant drop down. Here's my E. Trying to work quickly before that starts to cure and get my jump ring down. So that's how you can easily add a loop to the top of letters. So let's let those go. You could also try to use our hand drill and drill a hole, but you can see how large the bit is and how dainty this letter is. So that's probably not the best idea, but I do want to show you how the drill works. So I'm going to use our G here for Gabriella. And I was a little overzealous with the resin here. I covered up that hole. So I'm actually going to go in through the back with this drill. You situate the bottom in your hand so you can turn it like this. And it is perfectly sized to make these holes. And I just drill it out. You can see the little curly cues it's making. And just keep going until it'll pop through the front. All right. Any questions from the group? I see Anne-Marie's answering questions. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Steph. I don't know, everyone must be working really hard because or either that or they're getting really good at doing this because not too many questions today.
All right, so you can see now we've got a clear hole there at the top. Let me get rid of my resin dust and show you these. So now I have an H, I have an E. I won't do the Y, but I'll show you. These just can slide on. These bracelets are great for making quick bracelets because they can this jump ring can just slide right on there. And you don't need to open it or close it or worry about any of that and spell out whole words this way. Okay, we have about 10 minutes left. If you have any questions, ask them now. Otherwise, we are going to do some show and tell. All right, so first thing, here is another monogram necklace, but you can see we've connected two shapes together. So maybe for your two kids, you would do something like this. We also tried to do letters just in a big chunk like this. And we place these letters at different depths. So let me turn it to the side and you can see the different depths that the letters are placed at and how that affects the look from the front. Okay. Next, I'm going to show you, this is a shaker charm. You can hear it shaking around in there. So we put a letter and then just some gems and pearls inside there. This frame comes from a mold. And it's right here. It's the same basic shapes mold that we've been working with. And that frame is here. This creates a little box. Here's one that just like, so picture it, when you mold it, it's down in there like this. Okay. And then you pull it out. And this is what you get. It's like a shadow box. So you can fill it with glitter and beads and pearls like we've done here and a custom monogram. And then what we did, because this has a cover on it, that is from our packaging. So our packaging comes with this plastic, this blister. Don't throw this away. This is actually a great way to reuse this plastic because it works so perfectly. you would cut some of the plastic to exactly the size, place it down on top, actually put resin along the edge, place the plastic down, and then you have a little front cover. So that's a fun technique. Okay, so outside of Monogram world, there are a few pieces that I want to show you. This is one of them. This was made with dried flowers. Actually, our class we do these classes every 2 weeks, by the way. I hope you'll come back. 2 weeks ago, we talked about dried flowers, and we featured, oh, that's not, oh, there it is. It wasn't focusing for a minute. So that piece, here's what it looks like in stores, the mold. So you get the mold for this like sort of dagger shape, but you also get this custom metal part. This is a very special piece that's made to fit exactly on top of your molded piece. So this is a really fun one for making necklaces. Here's what that little finding looks like. And you get 6 of them inside the package. So that mold I wanted to show you. I've been showing these at almost every class because they are just so cool. Here's some bangles that we made. Here we took some letter beads and did some encouraging phrases around there. Here we took just seed beads and put them down inside the bangle mold. Here we used some more dried flowers. Question from Liza, can you get these tops separately? Not at the moment, but we're working on that. So hopefully that will be happening soon where you can get more of them. So we have some dried flowers in this bangle, and here we have some candy sprinkles, like just from the grocery store that we sprinkled in there. How cute is that? All right, so we only have a few minutes left, so I did want to show you one of the hoops. So here's a hoop that I made earlier, and I haven't attached. Let me just put a bunch of our hoops out here. Here's the one that I destroyed. Let me just show you a bunch of hoops here. Flowers. This one has glitter. This one has ombre glitter. Sort of an all over color here. Maybe I'll just do this one. So I'm going to add the fining. And as I said, these already come in the package. Sorry, we're finding, here it is. So these already come in the package. I'm going to show you how to add it on here. So taking my resin and just putting a tiny little dot on here. And then I want to add this. Now I'm intentionally, when I put it in there, I'm like kind of like scraping it against the bottom, I guess, and then placing it so that I know that that resin got over the edges, and just cleaning up. I had a little extra over here, just cleaning that up. It's easy cleanup because it's clear. All right, and then, so once I have that balance where I want it, add some light to it. You can see how easy it is to make custom hoop earrings. And I like to kind of move it around. The question, do you sell the finding to attach to the earrings only? Yes, Michael sells these in their regular jewelry section. They sell the flat pad earrings. And I'm just making sure that it hits all parts of it. All right, so I would probably let that go under the lamp. We'll just let that cook there for a minute while we wrap up. While we're wrapping up, I just wanted to show you a couple other pieces. Like this is some more earrings, some dried flower earrings. We have some more ombre. All of these pieces came from a mold. Let me show you some rings So this shows, I think this is probably like a size 6 and this is probably a size 9. These have glitter down inside of them. And one more. So this is another hoop that I didn't finish yet, but you can see we just used plastic letter beads in there. Okay. All right. So this one has been under there for a while, but you can see this is on there. I don't want to bend this one again, but it is on there permanently. Okay. Thank you guys so much for joining. Let me move all this stuff now. Thank you so much. We do this every 2 weeks, so please come back. We try to show you a different technique, something new to build your repertoire of resin skills. We love to see what you post. So if you post on Instagram, Facebook, use the hashtag UVResinCraft. That's the name that's on the top of all of our packages here, UV Resin Crafts. And then of course your hashtag Make It With Michaels, they would use for anything you bought at Michaels. And you can connect with me personally at Stephanie Menor Creates on Instagram. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much, everyone, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks.